There are moments in a person's life when the world grows silent, and all that remains is the sound of your own breath echoing against the walls around you. In those moments, you discover who you truly are. When the door is shut and freedom slips from your hands, you begin to understand the value of every step you once took for granted. I have known the weight of those cold walls, the loneliness of long nights, and the silence that tries to break the spirit. Yet I learned something greater. No prison can hold a mind that refuses to surrender. No darkness can defeat a heart that still believes in the dawn. What I endured behind those bars was not the end of my story, it was the sharpening of my purpose, the birth of a strength I never knew I carried. And today, I stand before you to share not a story of confinement, but a lesson of how even in chains, a person can rise, rebuild, and reclaim their power. When I speak of hardship, I do not speak of it as an enemy, but as a teacher, stern, unyielding, and honest. There was a time when the cold floors of a cell and the weight of silence pressed against my chest with the force of a mountain. In those moments, a person can easily believe that the world has forgotten them. But hardship has a way of revealing truths that comfort never can. It strips away the noise, the distractions, the illusions we wrap around our lives. It leaves you standing face to face with yourself, with no mask, no armor, no excuses. And it is in that raw, vulnerable state that true transformation begins. Prison, to many, is a place meant to break the human spirit. But I discovered that it only breaks the spirit of those who never learn to look within. The walls may confine the body, the bars may restrict movement, and the days may seem endlessly repetitive, yet the spirit, your deepest source of strength, remains untouched unless you surrender it willingly. I learned that no guard, no gate, no lock has the power to imprison your inner freedom, that freedom is yours alone to protect, and when you choose to defend it, even the harshest conditions cannot strip it away. In those long days and longer nights, I realized that hardship is not punishment, it is preparation. It prepares the mind to think clearer, the heart to feel deeper, and the soul to stand stronger. The world outside may celebrate ease, comfort, and speed, but it is the world inside you that must remain resilient. Hardship teaches patience, and patience becomes your quiet companion when no one else stands beside you. It teaches discipline, the kind that shapes your thoughts when chaos tries to take over. And it teaches humility, reminding you that every breath, every moment of peace, every glimpse of hope is a gift. There were times I felt the weight of those walls pressing against my spirit, trying to silence the voice inside me. But it was in that struggle that I discovered my voice was louder than the silence, stronger than the darkness. I learned that hardship does not exist to crush you, but to carve you into someone capable of carrying greater responsibilities, deeper wisdom, and a stronger purpose. So when I speak of prison as a place of reflection and inner growth, it is because I found within those confines the very freedom that many search for in the outside world. I found clarity, I found strength, and I found the courage to transform my pain into power. And I say to you now, hardship is not the enemy you fear. It is the mentor that shapes you for the life you are destined to lead. There are moments in life when pain feels like an uninvited companion, walking beside you whether you welcome it or not. In the quiet hours of confinement, when the world outside becomes a distant echo, pain becomes even louder. It finds its way into your thoughts, your memories, your doubts. It forces you to confront everything you once ran from. But it is in these very moments that pain reveals its secret purpose. It is not there to destroy you, but to redirect you. It is not meant to break your spirit, but to awaken it. When I sat behind those bars, I realized that every tear I shed, every injustice I felt, every moment of fear I confronted was shaping me into someone I had not yet met. Pain was chiseling away the weaker parts of me so the stronger parts could finally emerge, and as I listened to the whispers of my own suffering, I understood that pain is not the end of the path. It is the beginning of transformation. It is the fire through which ordinary souls become extraordinary. You see, comfort never teaches courage. Ease never builds warriors. It is in struggle, in darkness, in the moments when you feel you have nothing left, that you discover the truth of who you are. Pain strips away everything that is unnecessary and leaves behind only your purpose. It transforms your wounds into wisdom, your doubts into determination, and your suffering into strength. What I endured in those years was not simply hardship. It was preparation for the mission that awaited me once the gates opened again. If I had not suffered, I would not have learned compassion. If I had not been wounded, I would not have known how to heal others. If I had not tasted injustice, I would never have fought so fiercely for justice. Pain gave me the clarity to understand what truly matters. It taught me that dignity is not given by the world. It is claimed from within. And once claimed, no force can take it away. There comes a moment when you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to make of me? That moment is when transformation begins. That moment is when pain becomes purpose. I learned to turn my suffering into a voice for those whose cries were ignored, into courage for those who feared standing up, into hope for those who believed their lives were beyond repair. Pain gave me the mission my soul had been searching for. So when you face your own struggles, do not shrink from them. Do not curse them. Look into them deeply and ask what they are trying to build inside you. Every hardship carries a lesson. Every wound holds a message. And every moment of pain can become the very source of your power. Remember always, true strength is not born in comfort. True strength rises from struggle, and purpose is forged in the fire of personal transformation. Freedom is often spoken of as something granted by nations, protected by laws, or defended by armies. But when I found myself behind bars, separated from my people, my family, and my land, I realized that true freedom does not begin with the unlocking of a door. It begins with the unlocking of the mind. The world may take away your movements, your choices, your opportunities, yet it can never take away your inner liberty unless you surrender it. In the darkest corners of confinement, I discovered that freedom is a decision long before it is a condition. It is a quiet resistance, a refusal to let circumstances dictate the state of your soul. There were days when the walls felt as though they were closing in, when the footsteps of guards echoed like reminders of everything I had lost. Many would imagine that such a place destroys hope, crushes dreams, and turns a person into a shadow of who they once were. But I learned that the heart has a power far greater than its surroundings. Even when the body is confined, the mind can roam where it wishes. Even when the eyes see only gray stone, the spirit can paint its own horizon. It is in that inner world where true freedom is kept safe. Freedom is the courage to think your own thoughts when others try to force theirs upon you. It is the strength to hold on to dignity when everything around you seeks to strip it away. It is the ability to dream of a better tomorrow even when today feels unbearable. Behind bars, I realized that no prison can steal a person's vision unless they willingly close their eyes. And so I chose to keep mine open. I chose to imagine a world where justice lived, where equality breathed, where humanity stood tall. That vision became my escape, not from prison, but from despair. Many believe that freedom is something given, but I came to understand that freedom is something claimed. It is claimed each time you rise instead of giving up. It is claimed each time you choose patience over anger, hope over fear, forgiveness over hatred. Freedom is not only a political condition, it is a spiritual discipline, and when nurtured, it becomes a force that no chains can weaken. I discovered that real captivity is not found in the walls around us, but in the beliefs we allow to control us. A person can be free in the world and still be a prisoner of fear, doubt, anger, or bitterness. And a person can be behind bars yet walk with the freedom that inspires nations. The cell I lived in was small, but the freedom I carried within me was vast. It stretched further than any guard could see, higher than any tower could reach. So I say to you, protect your inner freedom with all your strength. Let no situation, no hardship, no person imprison your mind. Your thoughts, your dreams, your dignity, these are the roots of true liberation. When freedom lives within you, the world cannot take it away. And when the day finally comes, when the doors open and the light floods in, you will step out not as a prisoner released, but as a soul already free. Hope is a quiet force, often unnoticed in moments of comfort, yet it becomes the most powerful companion when life grows dark. In the long nights of confinement, when the silence felt heavy and the world seemed impossibly far away, hope was the one presence that refused to abandon me. It did not arrive with fanfare or noise. It came gently, like a whisper reminding me that no night lasts forever and no suffering is eternal. When everything else was taken, freedom, family, familiarity, hope remained, a small flame burning steadily against the winds of despair. There were days when the darkness around me felt overwhelming, when the cold walls reflected the chill settling inside the heart. In such moments, one might believe that giving up is the easiest choice. But giving up is a greater prison than any cell. Hope, even in its smallest form, gives the soul something to hold on to. It tells you that your story is not finished, that your struggle has meaning, and that your life is still weaving its way toward a purpose you cannot yet see. I learned that hope is not the absence of difficulty, it is the refusal to be defeated by it. It is the courage to believe in a sunrise even when you stand in the deepest night. It is the strength to imagine a future that looks nothing like your present. When I looked around me, the world offered little reason to believe. The walls stood high, the gates were locked, and the years seemed unending. Yet hope allowed me to see beyond those walls. It let me dream of the day when I would walk again as a free man, when I would meet my people, when justice would rise like the morning sun. That vision gave me the endurance to face each day with the quiet certainty that my life was moving towards something greater. Hope taught me that a single belief can outweigh the weight of an entire prison. It showed me that no darkness, no matter how deep, can extinguish a flame that refuses to die. And I began to understand that hope is not just a feeling, it is a responsibility. You must feed it, protect it, and keep it alive even when your circumstances try to smother it. It is the lifeline that keeps your spirit from drowning when despair threatens to pull you under. There were moments when hope was the only thing I had, but it was enough. It guided my steps when the path was invisible. It lifted my spirit when my body felt weak. It reminded me that every struggle, no matter how painful, is shaping you for a day you cannot yet imagine. And because of hope, I survived. Because of hope, I grew. Because of hope, I rose stronger than the chains that once held me. So I say to you, guard your hope fiercely. In your darkest seasons, cling to it as though your life depends on it, because it does. Even a small spark of belief can outshine the deepest darkness. And that spark may be the very thing that leads you into the light once more. Patience is not born in moments of comfort. It is shaped in seasons of waiting, in the long stretches of silence when nothing seems to move, And in the quiet hours where doubt tries to creep into the heart, in the years of confinement, I came to understand that patience is not simply the ability to wait. It is the strength to remain steady while you wait. It is the discipline to continue believing even when the evidence of progress is nowhere to be seen. There were days when the calendar seemed to mock me, when time moved as slowly as the shadows crawling across the cell floor. But it was in those very days that patience began to mold my character, sharpening my resolve and deepening my purpose. Perseverance, too, is a companion that does not always arrive willingly. It is learned through struggle, through endurance, through the choice to rise again after every disappointment. When nothing changes around you, you must choose to change within. When no door opens, you must keep faith that one will. And when your spirit grows weary, you must remind yourself why you began the journey in the first place. In the long nights of imprisonment, perseverance became my anchor. It held me steady when the waves of fear and uncertainty tried to pull me under. It reminded me that my mission was larger than my suffering, that my purpose reached beyond the walls that enclosed me. I learned that greatness is never built in moments of ease. It is forged slowly through countless days of effort, discipline, and unwavering conviction. Many look at the peak of a mountain and admire its beauty, but few understand the slow, painful climb required to reach it. Perseverance is that climb. It demands that you keep moving even when your feet tremble, that you keep believing even when your heart is tired, that you keep fighting even when victory feels distant. And though every step may feel heavy, each one brings you closer to becoming the person you are meant to be. Change does not arrive with the swiftness of a storm. It comes quietly, like the gradual rising of the dawn, unnoticed until suddenly the whole sky is bright. Every day you endure, every challenge you rise above, every doubt you overcome becomes part of that dawn. Even when nothing appears different on the outside, the spirit within you is growing stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Perseverance shapes you into a warrior long before the world ever sees your triumph. So when the journey feels long, when progress feels slow, and when the night stretches endlessly, do not lose heart. You are being prepared in ways you cannot yet understand. Patience is teaching you endurance. Perseverance is forging your strength. And one day, when the moment is right, the world will witness the light that has been quietly growing within you through every struggle and every silent victory. In the solitude of confinement, I came to understand a truth that no freedom outside could teach. A prison is not merely a place of punishment, it is a mirror. It reflects not just the walls around you, but the state of your own soul. In that reflection, there are no distractions, no illusions, no masks to hide behind. You are left face to face with your fears, your doubts, your weaknesses, and also your strengths. Every day becomes an encounter with yourself, every hour an opportunity to see clearly who you are and who you might become. The walls do not only confine the body, they force the mind and heart to confront the essence of existence itself. In that mirror, I saw my impatience, my anger, my moments of doubt. I saw the ways in which fear had tried to control me, the ways in which pride had sometimes blinded me, and the ways in which hope had been tested again and again. And yet, I also saw resilience, courage, compassion, and the capacity to endure beyond what I had ever imagined. Confinement does not invent these qualities, it simply brings them into focus. It strips away everything extraneous, everything superficial, until only the raw material of character remains. In this way, prison is a teacher, forcing you to meet yourself fully, to examine the choices you have made, and to take responsibility for the person you wish to be. There is an extraordinary clarity that comes from such reflection. When the noise of the outside world is silenced, every thought, every feeling, every intention becomes magnified. You begin to see patterns in your own behavior, recognize the impact of your decisions, and understand the depth of your convictions. You learn that your purpose is not determined by circumstance, but by the deliberate choices you make in response to those circumstances. A prison may confine your body, but it cannot dictate the content of your character. That remains entirely within your control. Confronting oneself in this way is not easy. It requires honesty, courage, and a willingness to face discomfort without turning away. It demands that you examine not only your fears and flaws, but also your potential, your dreams, and the responsibilities you carry toward others. In the process, you begin to understand that confinement can become a crucible of growth, a place where weakness is recognized and transformed, where courage is nurtured, and where the spirit is refined. The mirror of prison does not lie. It reveals truths you may not wish to see, but truths that are necessary for growth. And so when I reflect on those years behind bars, I see them not only as a period of limitation, but as a period of revelation. Confinement revealed who I was, but also who I could choose to become. It taught me that the ultimate freedom is not merely to walk beyond the walls, but to carry integrity, courage, and purpose within, no matter where life places you. In the mirror of prison, I learned that the person you become in solitude can ultimately light the way for countless others.